Hello, my friends. I am so over the moon. Recently, I just reached over 500 viewers, and it's all thanks to you. And it really gives me encouragement to share the teachings and different thoughts with you, as hopefully it'll continue to encourage you to share your thoughts and questions with me. And I cannot express enough how much this really means to me. So we're going on to the lessons of this week. I just don't know about the rest of you, but chaos has been hitting pretty hard, and talking to many people as I do around the world and so forth, I've seen that it's been the same. And what is very human, very normal, is when chaos and tensions begin to hit. This is typically when there is tendency to become impatient and more judgmental, and we've all been guilty of that at one time or another. But there is an old Native American proverb that I would like to share with all of you, and that is that one should not judge your neighbor until you've walked at least 2 moons within their moccasins. And it's very, very true. And this is an important practice, not only in a practical way, but in a spiritual way. And I'd like to share the steps of being able to increase this practice within your life. And the first step to being able to walk with this is that you have to remove your ego. Because if you're truly learning to walk in another's moccasins, if you have defenses up, if you want to defend your way of thinking or being, at that point, as they say, your cup is already full, and there is no point in filling a cup that is already full. So you need to put that aside and be open. So you open up your hands, you open up your heart. So the step right after this one is that once you've made up your mind that you truly can not need to be defensive or to defend anything, that you are ready to be open hands, open heart, open mind, open heart, then begin to study where your biases and prejudices come from. And we all have them. Don't kid yourselves. All of us, without exception, have them. And really see not only where did they come from, but consciously and subconsciously, how has this impacted your opinions on people or situations? How has this influenced your reaction and behavior towards this individual or this type of scenario? And it becomes very informative when you sit down with this, because then you can say, this is my perception, but is this really happening? But nothing happens in a vacuum, because, as I said, we all have our biases and prejudices. So after you have a good orientation as to what yours are, where they came from, for right or for wrong, and how they've influenced you, then here is where I would encourage you to reach out to what is the pair of proverbial moccasins that you would choose to wear, and learn about the other, whether it be another type of personality different from you, learning from people who live in different situations that you do. It could be even with our animal friends or into the environment. So what happens is that you begin to learn, especially, where did their biases come from? And with that, what perceptions do they have of you? They could even have a bias or prejudice against you. Where did that come from? And understand there are limits to this. In other words, just because you are learning, it doesn't mean that you condone if anybody's acting ill against you. You're not inviting anybody to violate boundaries. So there's a difference between truly understanding and saying that it's okay. So I want to be very clear on those lines. But don't just have this be as an intellectual exercise, because yes, it's good to learn and read or what have you. But as people, we learn best when we are able to connect with or immerse ourselves into the environment of the person or it could even be the animals or beings of nature that we're trying to help. So with that, within reason. So again, within reason. So, making sure that you're safe, making sure that it is not being, what's the word I'm looking for? I would say presumptuous. So when you choose to immerse yourself or to connect in some way, then making sure that it is done in a manner that is truly accepted by the person or group of people that you're studying from. So it doesn't seem as if you're doing cultural appropriation or somehow that you're being patronizing or condescending in any way. Let the person, or say if it's with helping with animals in the environment, let these people who are living it, let them guide you to the proper way to begin to understand. And so with that, you are connecting in a way that you are going outside of your own worldview. You are literally stepping beyond your box. And I'll tell you this much, it can be very uncomfortable at times. I won't lie. It can be very uncomfortable, especially when you get to see yourself through the lenses of others. You begin to see how they see the world. And it can really make you understand how limited that you have been, and again, we all come from this space. So when I say you, it's kind of like all of us, having this experience. But once you are guided by those people, individuals that are in that world, and those moccasins that you're trying to learn to walk in, be open, see as they see, understand as they understand. And I would have to say to you, like I like doing with animal rescue, where say, for example, people are well-meaning, but they don't understand. They try to humanize animals too much in trying to help for them to rehab. Or if there's somebody who is going through crisis with my helping people, that, well, aren't they over that yet? Not understanding the totality of the environment. So when you allow yourself to be guided by those people who are in that world in a good way, or through a group that is trying to help a situation, then you get this comprehension that you could not possibly do in any other way. Because otherwise, again, it's simply a mental exercise. And as much as you can understand from that perspective, there's still this one way. There is nothing like actually being in the environment, connecting with those people or beings that you're trying to understand. And it's very much like the reason why travel changes you. So once you feel that you have, say, absorbed enough, and or the ones that have guided you into the world are saying, that you have stayed enough for that time, sit back and reflect. You now have another frame of reference. You can look back at the way you thought of yourself, and now you can see yourself through the eyes of others. You can see the way you looked at a situation or the world, and now you have another perspective. And through that, you can now consciously form your own new ways of interacting. It just changes you so much. I cannot begin to express the difference between, taking a cause that's important to you and then participating with it with others that are in there. And I know for me, one of the favorite things that I've done in the past and would like to get back into is helping for people who may not have the basics of life. And I like helping at soup kitchens. I like helping to make sure that people are connected and have a way to reach what they need, whether it be physically. Again, I used to do that a lot in the past. And now with spiritually helping them to move forward from old experiences into new stages of life. So, and with that, what also is important is allowing for others. You might have the same thing happening with you, where there could be others that are trying to learn what your moccasins are like. And there could be like, that knee-jerk, what? No. Be gracious about it. If you have somebody who is coming from a good way. They're not trying to exploit you. They're not trying to be condescending to you or your cause or your people. Then be that ambassador, be that guide to them, so that they also can begin to understand from a place that is more than just mental perceptions, but from the heart, being able to feel spirit, body, and mind. So what I'd like to say lastly, in conclusion to all this is why this is such a very powerful, practical, and spiritual practice, which is the way of the Good Red Road. It has to be practical and spiritual. Once you truly have walked in another person's moccasins, when you truly grasp and begin to understand, it makes you more patient. It creates a compassion and empathy that would not be possible otherwise. It helps to snap judgments that can be completely off the mark about a person's motivations or what you think they need to get things right. And in turn, when you walk out into the world in a very practical way, this radiates from you. You can always tell the difference between somebody who's been very, very sheltered or very rigid in their way of being, expressing, thinking, versus someone who has traveled and they're open, and there's such a different rapport that can be built from this, and this will radiate from you. So my friends, this is what I wanted to share with you in this time of chaos and of so much change. Being able to walk in each other's moccasins in a way of good heart and goodwill is going to go a long way in helping to build bridges of unity, community, and spiritual harmony, not only within us, but within ourselves as a global family, and within connecting with nature, children of this world. So once again, a big, big Wanishi, thank you so much. As this community, I would love to build a community of us being able to meet, to talk, developing different practices and meditations that I'll be sharing with you. Again, more on that later. That is, I'm really excited. That's really getting on the roll now. And if you're interested in that, please either drop a comment or you can get me on Instagram. And also you can leave a message via my website. And it would be great to hear from you. Anything that you'd like for me to talk about, teachings that you'd like to have, I would be delighted. I would be delighted to have you walk with me further into the coming moons and turns of the seasons. So with that, my friends, until we have the pleasure of being together again, bright blessings.